Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Thursday, August 30th, 2018. My name is Rich, and joining me to cover the amazing ANW10 Vegas Finals is Bijan. How you making out?
Woo! We made it, man. I'm super excited. Dude, like, this episode was so freaking crazy.
This is one of the best episodes we've seen. I think that's fair to say.
Oh, yeah, dude, like, how can you predict the things that happen? Like, it's not even Joe Moravsky and all the other, like, everybody's falling. Like, people that are making it are just, like, blowing through. Like, it's weird. The people that made it really made it look easy, but yet there are people that are struggling through and barely, like, missing out on the buzzer. And there are people falling in, like, the craziest places. I mean, I was at the gym watching this, and usually I'm at a setting of, like, 4 miles per hour on the treadmill, like a fast walk. And usually, I just get by doing that and I'm forcing myself to walk and getting good sweat on. Dude, for 2 straight hours, I was going at 6 miles per hour, just running like a jog the whole time because I was so freaking amped. Like, there's nothing like American Ninja Warrior. When it is on, there is nothing like this, bro. There is nothing in the world like this. And all the stakes, everything going on, I mean, I was sweating, my heart was racing, I was there with them. And wow, such an amazing 2 hours of night. Like, give your thoughts, initial thoughts. I loved the chorus right from the second they showed it. I was like, that is a cool chorus. It's got lots of great elements. Everything looks fair and cool and kind of variations of things we had seen. We'll run down the obstacles here in a minute, but yeah, my impression was that the course itself was awesome. I can't wrap my head around the all-star lineup. You forget, like, once you combine all these people into one episode, it's like, oh my God, it's just run after run that you want to see. It's so much fun to watch. Yeah, like, it's only like 4 or 5 years ago since we had like a good number of like really high up there ninjas, like the All-Stars, right? Like Wolfpack and Jabrin, all them, right? But now the number of All-Stars is so insane. I mean, I'd say out of these 100 competitors, at least 50 of them are super, super named ninjas. Not even like, oh, I know that person. Like, these are household names. Just the way they have built up these people year after year is astonishing, and they're doing amazing work. And they made more stars tonight, man. I mean, like, the kid, like, everybody's going to know the kid after this. Yeah, we're going to, like, let's get into it, bro.
Yeah, let's do it. So let's take a look at the course itself first. And I got to mention, the first thing I took a note of was the balance tank, I think it's called, the underwater obstacle coming to ANW for the first time. I am super stoked about that.
Dude, yeah, like, for those that don't know, in Sasuke, like the Japanese version of American Ninja Warrior, they have an obstacle on the second stage called the jet stream. And it is a very controversial obstacle. Basically, it's an underwater obstacle. Not necessarily underwater. I mean, it could be above water. Nobody's drowning or anything. But basically, there's almost like an underwater fan, right? Causing a very strong current in the water that you have to swim against to get to the other end of a pool, so to speak. And this water obstacle is very difficult. It's one of the hardest obstacles for a lot of the ninjas. And a lot of ninjas don't like it based on the fact that some of them don't know how to swim necessarily all that well. There's a lot of fears of drown, like various different things. I don't want to speak for them, right? But you can read it online. There's a lot of thoughts. So it's interesting now that we have a water obstacle in American Ninja Warrior. And I'm really happy that it's there because I really like difficult obstacles, and I really like creative, different things. This uses a completely different skill set. Yeah, there might be rock climbers that are world-class in a million different things, and you just assume they're going to get through like stage 3 or something. Well, now there's another equation in this whole puzzle, and that is, can you swim? And if you can swim, how well can you swim? That said, I don't necessarily know. It's not a jet stream, so, I feel like years, like, maybe next year and things, they're going to get a little bit more brave with how difficult that water-based obstacle is. I think right now it's just lifting up a wall or something. Like, do you know specifics on what it is, Rich?
Not a thing. I know nothing except for that little brief clip we got. I got really excited, and then I just moved on because there was so much going on.
Yeah. So that's something we'll look forward to in, I think, 2 weeks from now. For stage one, I mean, I gotta say, I've been talking about the Archer steps, and there's an original version of it that was very, very difficult and made a lot of ninjas nervous. And I gotta say, this is pretty much it. I mean, other than the fact that the original inclination was a little bit more arched, which makes a world of difference. Very, very big difference, right? But I gotta say, it's pretty tried and true to the original inclination or iteration of it. And, I was pretty surprised. I mean, a lot of these ninjas did a lot better than I thought they would on it. So I'm pretty impressed, man. That thing is no joke. That is a scary, scary obstacle.
Yeah, they're for those that didn't notice, in addition to being an additional step, they're offset, right? They're not in a straight line. They've got to go back and forth. And as soon as you do that, as soon as you start to deviate, they want to spin, right? So it's very, very difficult. We saw it take out a number of top competitors. So there will be no underestimating it going forward. That's for sure.
Yeah, and, as somebody that's been on it, like not the American Ninja Warrior version, obviously, but, a recreation of it, I could say that the steps get smaller the further you go along, but the key is the third step. And what I mean by that is the fact that on the initial first step, your body is already moving forward, so you get a strong leap. Usually it's just one step onto it, right? And you're leaping to the second platform. And then from there, your body has to land, and basically it's about momentum, right? So you have to keep moving forward. And just doing 2 steps is very doable, where you can leap off that and you don't have to worry about which direction you're going or whatever, because you're already leaping to a rope in the initial version, right? That we saw in the finals, the city finals. With this third step, that's the key, where you no longer, just can leap willy-nilly. You have to focus on leaping to a smaller platform that's also arched upwards. So you have to keep your momentum moving forward with it and basically land perfectly in the center. Because if you land too high up on that third step, it's going to spin out from underneath you. And if you land too low, you're going to stop all momentum that you had, and you're not going to be able to make that leap. And once again, it'll spin out from underneath you. Or you're just going to grab onto it, and then you're done. I mean, you're going to have a really hard time.
Right.
So it's one of those things where you didn't necessarily see it a whole lot on this episode, because everybody here is world-class, amazing, fantastic athletes. But the original version of it, oh boy, not as easy as they make it seem. And that's the reason why they're so amazing, right? Other than that, other things is they do spin very easily, so you want to make sure that you're in the middle, because if you stand, and we saw this in the episode, if you go too far to the side or something, that triangle is going to spin out from underneath you also. And there is that also iteration of the rope, so you can't just jump and then you're landing on a platform. You have to leap to a rope, so you kind of have to know where you're going. A lot of very minute details for it that make it very, very difficult.
Yeah, there were a few cool and new obstacles here. Besides Archer Alley, we had Jeep Run, which I'm not a fan of the name, but the obstacle's cool. I like that. I'm not.
Did you like that giant karaoke sign? I think it was karaoke, right? Basically, it's advertising, and actually, it's
Cherokee.
less.
You mean?
What did I say? Karaoke. Oh lordy, what's wrong with me? I'm an English major. Anyways, yeah, bro. I feel like this is the least in-your-face advertising that they've had, so I'm really cool with it. Make your money, peeps.
Yeah, and the obstacle was good. I liked it. I liked the challenge of the. It's just a whole range of different movements. I wasn't sure what was going on with those first tires. They're just kind of there, just to kind of ramp up to it. But grabbing the wheels and having to jump from them, the way they locked into place at the end of the track was a relief, because at first I thought they were supposed to jump as soon as they hit the end, but at least it did lock.
Oh, like Ultimate Beastmaster. That
Yeah.
would be so bad, man.
Oh,
I
it
would
was
hate
brutal. It was bad enough as it was. And then I like the twist at the end with the tire that spins. It does eventually lock from what we saw. But
yeah, it locks on one side, so I like that because there is a way to go through it. Like if you like overjump it and you can get a good kip up, you can actually like land it and it won't have to move. I like that.
so that was a good obstacle. I liked it. And we had razor beams, which were basically just Razor's Edge, a little bit wider. Was it fair obstacle? It was good.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
I don't know if the difficulty's there, but for that, no one wants to see people falling there, really.
I don't want it. This might be controversial. I know I like difficulty. I really don't want an insanely difficult balance obstacle in the first stage. I just hate that.
Yeah, I think that's a good balanced obstacle.
I see what you did there.
And
by the way, sorry, but Cherokee Run
Cherokee.
or whatever that thing is called, man.
It's called Jeep Run.
Jeep Run, yeah, sure. I feel like they changed it up quite a bit just because if you remember last year, I think, is it Snake Run or something like that? Parkour Alley, whatever that obstacle was before, so many people were stopping halfway and making that kind of like that cheat where they jumped
Right.
like halfway through it. I think basically they're stopping people from doing that.
And then the final obstacle we had was Twist and Fly, which was a variation on and why didn't I write this down? Whatever that one was called during the regular season.
Yeah, we all know. And honestly, I really like that obstacle. It's cool. It's an obstacle where you can get really tied up and lose a lot of time, and we saw that quite a bit. And I feel like that's really cool because it really adds a lot of tension to the end of the run. At that point, usually the timer is a big factor, right? And unlike its predecessor, and I forget its name, there is that difficulty, but it's the same type of muscle groups, right? You're still doing that leap from one to the other, but now you have that added difficulty in its spinning. And really at that point, it's all about the timer. So I really, really like this.
Yeah, it really added a lot of drama I wasn't expecting. As the episode went on, we saw people that had decent times and were swinging back and forth at a good pace keep getting turned around, right? So it was chewing up the clock, which is what we want something in that position to do for dramatic effect, at least.
Yeah, but the story of this episode, man, was of all things a double dipper. I mean, I know it's difficult, but wow, I didn't expect it to take out as many people. Like, really, what were your thoughts on that one, man?
I wondered if they changed it up. Like, what happened? They mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I don't know. I took a note right at actually it was during Matthew Day's run. They said, the Double Dipper took out more than anyone else last year. I meant to double check that. That doesn't sound right to me. I don't remember it being a Ninja Killer last year at all.
I do, but I don't think they highlighted it as much. I remember there was a lot of skipping things where they would be like, oh yeah, the Double Dipper, the Ninja Killer of the night, and it'd be a bunch of people falling at that.
Well, maybe
that said, I mean, maybe it was on a track more last year, where this one, it's basically just a pole, or a bar, and a lot of people are just slipping out from one side. It could be that, maybe it was shorter. I mean, I feel like if there is a change, it's going to be it's going to be hard to see, but I'm sure if you were there, you would know. So maybe we'll hear from one of the ninjas, over the next week of what necessarily is going on.
It seemed to be faster. The thing that got me was not the bar positions and stuff. The speed that they were hitting the second bar with, we saw some really, really awful things with that as well. But we had more ninjas hitting it too high and too fast than I remember ever seeing last year.
That's a good point. Like, people were flying into that. Maybe the track arch, it doesn't really take a whole lot of a change for there to be a drastic difference in terms of speed and velocity, when it comes to tracks like that.
Maybe it was dusty that day or something. It could be just about anything, right? Reducing the friction on it so that it speeds it up, and who knows?
Yeah. That said, I mean, I remember it's a drastic difference when you're there. Like, these obstacles are so much larger than they seem on television. So, like, it really hit me, watching this, that Double Dipper must be freaking massive in real life. Like when you're up there and you're grabbing that bar and looking at it, and you see not only one gigantic track, but you have to fly through the air and land onto that other gigantic track, you know? I mean, on television, it looks like a small gap. I bet you they are flying for probably for them what feels like forever, and then grabbing onto that and sliding again. And as you said, with that velocity and everything, I mean, that's probably takes a whole lot of nerves, and it's probably very intimidating to just be up there and forcing yourself to swing onto that thing.
Yeah, I know I said that last year because there was tons of Twitter comments of people saying, like, that looks so much fun. I would love to do that. Lots of ninjas wishing they had had a chance to do it. I think you're all crazy. Why the heck would you do that to yourselves? That is an insane looking obstacle. It's fun to watch, but there is no way you'd get me to jump onto that thing.
Dude, I think I was one of the people that
you
said
did
that.
say
like,
that.
Yeah, I was like thinking about like what the obstacle I fell on, the crayon thing, like that looks way smaller than this, and I was very high up, y'all. So I was like, oh man, maybe I need to. I don't know about this, you know. Maybe it was like a foam pit and it wasn't so high up. Maybe I'd try that thing, but yeah. I mean, props to everybody that tried that. That takes a whole lot of nerves to get on that thing. Whew.
We might see you get to do it next year. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
But let's get into the runs because there was a lot to get through here. We're chewing up time.
Hey, this is a first stage. We gotta, we gotta talk about it.
Yeah, we do, I guess.
This is gonna be a long episode. Don't be expecting an hour-long episode, bro.
That's probably fair. But first on the course, we had Matthew Day with his best day ever shirts. He's looking pretty good. But when he went into the jumping spider, he was just running through it. Like, I really feel like people still don't respect the jumping spider enough because they've done it in local gyms or for whatever reason. There's so many people that just race into that obstacle that is known for taking out just about anyone.
Yeah, from what I've heard from a lot of the ninjas, just the American Ninja Warrior version of the jumping spider, although not like drastically, there is a difference from a lot of the ones that you see at ninja gyms. And it could be just traction. It could just be, honestly, even the markings. You know, there's a lot of details about it that just change the trajectory of like mentally when you have to land and how you land. And it seems like every single year it slips up a lot of people. And it could just be, people don't want to psych themselves out, so they just run into it. Who knows, Rich? But yeah, it's always really, like, I'm glad it's there because it always seems to be very troublesome for a lot of the ninjas.
Yeah. And after Matthew, we had Davian Hancock's, the rookie EMT, who had kind of a hectic run going. He did not look as smooth and as controlled as I would have liked, but he actually was doing quite well. He had a little bit of a pause at the double dipper. Can't say that I blame him there, but he did beat it. This is where we learned that the wheels lock in place on the Jeep run. He landed on the side of that big wheel and just got spun off. Like he just couldn't quite. We figured out at that point that you have to land on top in order to get past it.
Yeah. I mean, really, these two runs were, kind of introductory runs of the course. And be like, oh, okay, we got to watch out for this obstacle. Okay, now we know what's so crazy about this Jeep run and what's going on with it. It was there.
After that, we had Rachel Goldstein, and they had a lot of Fantastic Four preview going on.
Dude, I like it.
I did too. And what was funny was it's so cool because it's almost like I got to witness. Well, I did. I witnessed history in the making, right? It's almost like I was there for like one of those iconic runs. I watched these four women in the qualifiers. I was there that night. It was so cool that this is like a featured story carrying forward.
Yeah, and you said like there was like a feeling in the air, right, that everybody was seeing history. Like I remember you talking about it like it was almost a very communal environment, like for everyone in the audience, right?
It was, and I don't know if everybody was keeping track, but I was kind of personally tallying as we were going, and I was looking at my dogs going like, I think we haven't like multiple women qualifying tonight. Like they're going deep, and they're going just as far as the men. Like this is kind of cool. I didn't realize it was four of them, or I would have been freaking out, obviously. But it was like this is a really good night for the female rookies, right? Because I recognize the names from National Ninja League, so I was all excited every time one of them took the course. But yeah, I felt cool to have the inside track for all of that.
Yeah, and I do appreciate very much so, like, a reason I enjoy the Vegas finals so much, and no offense to, the storylines that we get in the qualifying city qualifiers and the city finals with all the stories, they're needed and everything. But one thing I really enjoy as a long-term fan of American Ninja Warrior is the fact that during the Vegas finals, it is much more of almost a sports vibe where tension is in the air and the stakes are on the line. Like they even say it, there's no more second chances or anything. You fall, your season's over. And you're seeing so many high-profile ninjas, but they almost treat it almost like the finals, like the Super Bowl or something like that. And in many ways, it is, right?
Yeah, it
but
is.
It's presented in a different way, and I really like the way they present it. I mean, really, you get the best sense of it when we talk about Jamie Rahn later. But the Fantastic Four was another way where they really hyped up these women as like the top of the world athletes, and like we're gonna see them take on this crazy course, and you really want to see what they're capable of.
Yeah, and we saw Rachel as the first of the four. She caught the propeller with her fingertips, and that was really close. Had another close call on the dismount of the rope. Looked like she was gonna go off the course for a second, but she ended up falling on the double dipper. Her fingers just peeled off, apparently from the stress of it coming down on the second ramp. But a good first effort, and I was just so amped up to see what happened the rest of the night.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you watch with your daughters like this episode?
No, I watched it all by myself as usual.
I'm very curious how they, like, them watching a Fantastic Four and, like, just so many women. And also, I kind of want to hear their thoughts about, Mathis the Kid. Because I have a theory of why he's being so much hyped, this season. If you can, I kind of just want to hear their thoughts.
You have a theory? I mean, we saw this episode why they've been hyping him so much this season. I had a feeling that it was something good gonna happen for him in Vegas. I didn't realize it was going to be that good. But we'll get to it.
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
And let's just say I'm calling it now that Mathis is making it to stage 3, but I also we'll get into it. But I'm just saying right now, Mathis is making it to stage 3.
Interesting. That's a pretty bold call. I mean, with his stage 1 performance, I guess I could see that.
Champ is here.
But yeah, moving on, we had Nick Hansen. Eskimo Ninja. I love this little segment with him.
What, my favorite ninja of all time, or my hero?
Yes, your hero, your idol.
Yeah, apparently.
Was in Hawaii. I knew after seeing it last season they had to do a segment of him going to Hawaii, doing cliff jumps, getting sunburns, and diving with sharks. I thought those two have a great rapport going and make for some great segments.
Dude, it was really fun. And in the video, like, there's so much going on and everything. I love this dynamic, man.
As soon as they started talking about him timing out before, I went, oh no, this is not looking good.
You just knew it was going to,
don't.
It's his storyline, man. It's like, I feel like, of course, they're going to build it up because that's his Achilles heel, right? But I am like, oh, I just see this happening again. I don't know, man. Like, were you biting your nails, or did you just feel it in the air?
Yeah, at that point, I was like, I don't know. I can't say that I predicted it. I wasn't too surprised, though, I guess. He ended up timing out on the cargo net. It just, yeah, I was disappointed. He had a good season going. He conquered the mega wall and stuff. So I thought maybe he was going to go a little deeper, but whatever. Timing out on the cargo net is a very respectable way to go out on stage 1.
Oh yeah, there's way worse ways to go out.
Yes,
right? But like, what is this? The second or third year on the road, the same point, like right at that cargo net. Like, you're literally looking at the buzzer, man. I feel for this guy. That sucks. But I mean, I don't know. What do you do if you're him? Like, just pace yourself faster. I mean, I feel like he had a good pace going, but I feel like, man, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That's armchair quarterbacking. Just
that's what we're here,
I feel
right?
bad for the guy.
We're the armchair ninjas. So my take My expert opinion here, and I say that very sarcastically for those that didn't catch it, is that he needs to work on his stamina, clearly. Right? He's struggling. We saw it even in the city finals Ninja versus Ninja. I think he's having some problems with just keeping a sustained effort going. He's very, very talented. So, yeah, a little running in the snow, I think will help him out a bit.
Yeah.
But moving on, we had some fast forwards of some talented rookies that I thought were going to go quite deep this year. Rigel Henry and Brian Rambo both going out. Rigel pinned his badge to his skin like a lunatic. Nope. Missed the transition on the double dipper, like a crazy miss on that one. And then Brian Rambo went out on the jumping spider, as so many talented ninjas have before.
Yeah, I don't know. Rambo really, like, he was somebody I really had my eye on, going into this. Sucks he went out there, but people like that, their sophomore years are usually really good.
The next on the course is where they... I don't even know. How do you call... I can't even rank the shocking falls of the night. But this one got me so bad. I was so excited to see Kyle again. He is one of the most entertaining ninjas out there. He's teaching signs on Instagram to the other ninjas. And then he fell on Archer Alley. I thought he was going to beat stage 1. I was so excited for him. And to have him go out on the first obstacle just gutted me.
I mean, it didn't affect me as much as you did, but
it's the same with this segment. You were not as in. I am so in on Kyle Schulze, man. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's cool, and I do like what he's doing. I really like the, him teaching ASL and his Instagram and everything like that. Like, good for him. I just don't have that connection that you do, but
right.
I appreciate the fact that they showed off how difficult, the Archer run is, and just showing some ninjas are falling on this, and man, he fell hard on that thing. That said, I mean, it sucks that he was the one that had that fall on there, but it happens.
Yeah. I literally yelled. I have to say, I was very in. But after him, we had another great story from the season. Austin Gray. He took the course. He was the person who had donated his kidney to his friend Kaylee, and she's training ninja with him. And they made me cry at this point. Like, why do I get so into the show? I'm screaming, I'm crying, I'm laughing, I'm all over the place. I was an emotional wreck watching this episode.
Dude, these runs are affecting you far more than me, man. Hey, we need the one. We need the one that really gets empathetic. So, hey, give your thoughts, bro.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I do get so involved. People complain about the stories all the time. Oh, they're overblown. We do complain time to time again. But I get pulled in. I'm as guilty as, as many people, many fans of the show, of getting pulled into the stories and wanting to know more and getting emotionally involved. So when Austin lost the rope on the propeller and he started rushing, I was anxious. I really wanted him to do well. Notice I said well. I just wanted him to go deep. I did not think once he started struggling that he was going to be able to catch up. And man, oh man, did he ever. He was flying through this course. He had a minute left by the time he was on Twist and Fly and finished with 33.89 seconds left. Like, what? Like, I still don't understand how he goes into the interview afterwards and just said he had made no little mistakes or mishaps. Like, dude, the very first year run you had a mishap.
Yeah, it's like you did, but good on him. There are so many ninjas that, falter early on and just keep at a very, methodical pace. And I very much understand why. You have to keep your nerves in check and everything. But sometimes you kind of just have to put the boosters on your feet and just go for broke. And I appreciate that he did. And good for him. He really earned that buzzer.
Yes, he did. I think he overcompensated. I think he had lots of time. After a couple obstacles, he made that up and didn't realize it just kept going.
Sometimes you don't know, bro. Like, at some point, you're like, hey, I just got to go for it.
We had a couple more fast forwards next. We had Jerry Dorilio get fast forwarded, who went out in the propeller bar, which I did not predict at all. And Brent Stephenson timing out at the top of the cargo net. Like, God, Brent, why? I wanted you to go through to stage 2.
Brutal, man.
But next to take the course was John Alexis Jr., back in school at the Rochester Institute of Technology, studying robots. I mean, I don't know. I don't begrudged on a segment, but like I think we know who he is. He kind of stands out. I don't know if we needed a segment about him going to school again.
Hey, it was something different at least, I guess.
I guess. He had a crazy pace through the course. Barely saved it on the tire. This is when we saw it spin, but ended up stopping. He was struggling on the twist and fly. I really thought he had it. Like seemed perfectly good, but he just seemed to get winded on the twist and fly and ended up falling on the cargo net. Sucks.
Yeah, man, it's so hard to watch because it's like, you know, as an athlete, I understand when you are winded, you are winded. But the fact that, you know, you are right there, like one swing away and you are completely out of it, like you have nothing left, you know, it's just the worst thing probably as an athlete to deal with, but also as a viewer to like watch, because it's like you just have to push yourself just a little bit further. But I mean, I don't necessarily think stamina is his issue. I just think he blew himself out somewhere along the course.
You know what's funny is I just realized and I'm not putting it on the same level. So I don't need all the criticism. I get it. It's not the same thing, but it kind of is. I get some appreciation of it. Like climbing a rock wall now, and I've been like one step away, and I just can't will my arms to get up to that last piece, and I end up falling off. Like it's a weird feeling to have it right there. Like if I could just get that one last little move, I would be done. And yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating, ain't it?
A little bit. Frustrating isn't even the word for this. Travis Rosen takes the course.
Oh, man.
This run was jarring. I jumped. I like threw aside my laptop and was like glued to the TV, like trying to figure out, like skipping through the commercials because obviously I was watching a little bit later to see what the heck happened. So he flew through the double dipper way too high, hits his leg against the landing pad, and thought it was broken. Ends up his ankle was broken at the end. Rough landing. Like looked terrible last night. And yeah, I don't know.
I thought they said he broke his ankle, right?
He broke his ankle. Yeah, he didn't break his leg. He broke his ankle.
Gotcha. Yeah. A broken ankle is going to heal quicker than a broken leg. I'm not a doctor, so now I think like somebody's going to correct me on that. But from my experience, like, you know, I've hurt my ankle and I've hurt my knee before. Ankle definitely healed quicker. That said, I mean, this was very scary. Just in like when it happened in person, like you see the velocity and the speed that he goes down that like the double dipper. Then he lands and it lifts up. And he flies maybe halfway down that second ramp and lands on it. And I thought, okay, like just in a split second, you know, he's going to just like his hands are going to fall out. And he lands onto the pad. And I'm like, man, he hit that hard. I thought nothing of it. But as soon as he started lifting up his leg, that really scared me. I'm like, this guy is hurt. And once again, these accidents are the worst things to see. And I feel so bad for this guy because they even said it. This guy is so incredibly consistent. He's gone, I think this is his 9th time going to the Vegas finals, you know? Like, that's almost unheard of. When you think about the people, like the ninjas that have run every single season, and really, he's run 9 seasons. But out of those 9 seasons, I think he's gone, if not every time, maybe he missed one time not going to Vegas, and I think that's right. You know, this guy might be one of the most consistent ninjas there are. And the fact that he hurts himself in that fashion, I mean, you just don't want that on anybody. And I feel for the guy. But I really hope, you know, we'll see him again and he'll get his revenge. Because he hurt himself being too damn good at an obstacle.
Right.
Kind of like Drew Drexel last year, you know?
Exactly what
so it's one of those things.
Yeah. Best of luck to Travis, and definitely want to see him back and want to see him conquer stage 1 next year. After him, we had Flip Rodriguez teaming up with Drew Drexel in a training montage that I absolutely loved, flashing back to their old rivalry for fastest time, which was one of the things, honestly, that really drew me into this show and drew my oldest daughter in back in the day when she was watching it with me, was watching their rivalry. It was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, it was really fun. I was, you know, for I think 2 years ago, or a year ago. I was really hoping we'd see the same with Daniel Gill and Thomas Stillings, and I was hoping that would be like the new thing. But it seems like they're kind of shying away from that. And it's weird. I really enjoy these rivalries, Like, oh, man, we're going to have to see, like, next week, Ryan Stratus and Brett Sims, having their beard off. I like stuff like that, and I feel like a lot of people do. That said, he visited, Drew Dushel's gym for 9 days. I don't know how much of a big deal in terms of training you learn from that, especially at that level. But maybe you do. Who knows?
I would think that'd be a lot. I was actually really impressed with that. I thought that was a genius idea, taking Drew, who's at the top of the sport, and picking his brain, right? And being able to help each other out. Both would have little bits of knowledge, and they could execute them. Like you can see, even though I don't know how much of that was played up for the camera, but it would be easy to think of, like, hey, have you thought of that when you do this, if you do it this way, like little... They can turn around those techniques probably faster than most. They can take that and incorporate it like on the fly.
Yeah, good point, man. I mean, for me, maybe it was just the visual aspect of being like, 9 days isn't that long. But really, that is a good point. If they are training all day long and they are at such a high level that they are going to learn a lot faster than most, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they can, like really change up people, like each other's games. By the way, I did find it funny that they're like, oh yeah, they met on American Ninja Warrior. No, they didn't. Their rivalry began once again.
Right.
On Jump City, Seattle. Diehards represent. Just saying.
Yes, if you listen to...
Half our listeners have no idea what that is. But
hey, it's been around. They heard us cover it. So if you go back and listen, we have covered Jump City, Seattle as well in the off-season. But yeah, Flip, one of the more shocking falls of the night that almost got overshadowed because of everything else going on. Fell on the double dipper. Just the right side went off the track. I mean... I don't know if it was actually filmed in this order. I'm willing to bet it was. And that's got to get in your head, right? Watching Travis get injured on there, that's got to make that obstacle that much more intimidating.
Yeah, I just don't know. I mean, it was very much the announcers, hyping up that story. We didn't really hear it from Flip. So I don't know if it was a created story. But either way it was presented, I mean, it did add a lot of drama to his run. And the fact that it was, his run was right after, I mean, that did add a lot, For me, I was really, really shocked by the fact that he fell. And I shouldn't be, just because Double Dipper was taking out everybody. But it's just one of those things where Flip, you just expect to go so incredibly far. And be flawless, honestly, is really, really good, especially when it comes... to stage 1. I feel like, stage 3 would be his Achilles heel, right? I mean, the dude's done parkour for pretty much his entire life. That said, I mean, I feel for them. Those transition obstacles where there is no margin for error. You just have to be perfect, and it all, lasts within a matter of seconds. I mean, those are the ones that are super, super dangerous for anybody involved. And it must really suck to get that far, and you make one small mistake, and it all comes crashing down. I feel for the guy. That sucks.
Now, I know the stages aren't really designated, one thing or another. They just tend to be one thing or another, historically. Like, I feel like a couple of the obstacles that they put in stage 1 don't really fit the theme of a parkour heavy course, right?
No, but they're agility based for me. Like, I feel like stage 1 is very much about racing the clock, and it's a lot of transition, technical obstacles. There aren't a lot of obstacles that are necessarily testing your how long you can do a dead hang or things like that. It's just race, transition after transition after transition obstacle. And a lot of those play more into people that are used to running as fast as they can and making leaps from one to the other, so to speak. So it's not necessarily parkour, but I feel like people that, have experience in parkour, track, things like that, it's kind of made more for them. Just my personal take.
Good point. Next to take the course was Carson Voiles, who I was very happy to see get some airtime. Very talented ninja that doesn't get nearly enough, I think. His wife has a tumor, unfortunately, and his daughter was helping him with her magic wand in a very cute little segment throughout the whole thing. He had a really solid run going onto the cargo net with 30 seconds left, and ended up with 1978 left in the end. And when he got through the whole course, his little girl swooped her wand up, and it was like the most heartwarming little thing to see after all of the drama we had been going through.
That's the dad in you, man.
It is. Sucker for all that stuff. We had a few fast forwards after that of some notable ninjas. Danny Bergstrom, and that's the guy who lost all the weight that we just talked about last week, I believe it was. Went out on the Double Dipper, unfortunately. Thomas Coffrin, who you had spoken to in LA, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. He was the guy that was doing all the, the video packages, in my group with Natalie Duran. Cool guy.
Yeah. Firefighter guy. And he went out on the Jumping Spider. And
I just remembered back, quote unquote, I still don't know if it's true. I can't imagine it's true, but it was a story that he basically selfie filmed himself saving his parents' home or something like that. Like,
yeah, he's sitting there in a raging inferno, and he's like posting to Instagram little stories of, as he's dousing the fires.
Firefighters, correct me if that's a thing.
I don't know.
All right, moving on. Sorry.
Moving on. Tyler Yamauchi got fast forwarded, who went too high in the Double Dipper, and unfortunately Tyler was done for the season as well.
Dude, that sucks because that's I could see him that being his thing, right? Like, he's so small and compact, and he knows he has such a strong gymnastics background, and obviously it's not 1-on-1, but he's so good when it comes to flinging his body like a cannonball through the air and catching something. Like, I feel like he's perfect for things like the wing nuts. And, oh, man.
Wait a second.
It sucks. It looked like he landed a little too high on the Double Dipper. Was that right?
Yeah, he came at it too high. I just realized the gymnasts are the ones that really struggle with the Double Dipper, right? Tyler, Travis,
Wow,
Joe.
Good point. Yeah. Maybe it's one of those things where, thinking back to them, they all seem to overshoot it, right?
Yeah, I think they all
So
did.
maybe it was a thing where they were necessarily like too good, or like kind of like Drew Dreshel, they shot it, right? And they weren't expecting it to be as, I wouldn't say what would be the term? Like, just,
It basically kind of shoots you through the thing on its own. It doesn't really require, or doesn't seem to, I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. So it doesn't seem like it requires you to do the jumping. It kind of shoots you into the next one. And they were trying to kip too much, basically.
Yeah.
Or lâcher too much. But yeah, after Tyler, after he came back from commercial, we had Jamie Rahn, who...
Run of the year.
Oh, this, I saw it was posted online, and I intentionally didn't watch it. I was like, you know what? I want to watch it during the show. I thought I'll loop back to it if they don't show it. I'm so glad they did, because this was an epic run to end all epic runs.
Dude, everything about this was perfect. I mean, y'all know what's coming in a bit with my bell. But I'm just saying, like, if we have an award in Stage 5 Ninja Awards for Run of the Year, this has got to be in contention, man. This was amazing. Everything about it. But just the video package alone, as I said earlier, with the way they're presenting these ninjas, they hype him up. And they present Jamie in a way where it's like, yeah, he's got this story, he got married, all this really cool stuff, he's been a diehard fan, but he is an athlete. And they're having a bunch of ninjas talk about how the fact that he tests his body, he tests himself over and over and over again in weird, creative ways, and just really showing that this is a guy that you really want to look out for. And then comes the drama, bro, of the fact that on the second obstacle, he loses his shoe. And I don't know about you, man, instantly all I'm thinking about is, like, this guy's done. How is he going to get through the jumping spider, especially without breaking his toes? Like, instantly when that happened, what were your thoughts?
I thought jumping spider immediately. I was like, oh no, the jumping spider, how is that going to work? And then I started overthinking it with they posted his run. What happens? Does he make it? Does he not make it? And then I just thankfully was able to kind of throw that all aside because I was too busy watching what was happening on the screen to really overthink it. I just wanted to see what was going to happen next. Because once he beat the jumping spider, everything else was out the window. I just wanted to see what happened next. He ditches the second shoe and sock.
He went all in.
I was losing my mind. He just flew through the second half and managed to beat the course with bare feet. Like, it's going to be really hard to top that one.
This is a historic run. This is a run that when we talk about American Ninja Warrior, years and years from now, this is something that we'll look back on. If nobody wins this season, this will be a run that might be the story of the season. And I know that's hyperbolic, but I really believe this is something that people are going to, at the very least, remember Jamie Rahn for. And the fact that he completed one of the hardest stage ones in the show's history with bare feet. And that doesn't seem like a big thing to like a casual viewer, but people that know this, and if you're listening, you definitely know this. Stage one is damn near impossible without feet traction. Not to mention the fact that you are doing a lot of transitions where if you land wrong, you are breaking some toes. So it was a very dangerous gamble that he made. But it worked out for him, and I thought it would be impossible to do that jumping spider without shoes. I mean, not to mention, you talk about rope burn and stuff, like, all I could think about is him skidding out and just losing all the skin from the bottom of his feet. I was horrified. I'm like, don't do it. But he went all in, and he's a much braver, better, amazing man than I am, because wow.
I was thinking back. So one other part of the course that caught my eye that I was looking ahead past the jumping spider was the warped wall. That came up during Ninja versus Ninja. I think someone had taken off their shoes and you were freaking out about it, about the injuries that you could cause by doing that. So I was worried at that point.
Imagine if you fall. Imagine if you don't make it and you fall back. Like, you're at an extreme arch. What's going to happen? When you land, what's going to happen, bro?
Jamie will tuck and roll. But other than that, most people would probably injure themselves.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's scary. Like, you have to be at a certain level to make those risks. But he's another level, and he made it. And, Jamie Rahn, you win the Athletically Profound Run of the Night, probably of the year, everything else.
Right.
But, final thoughts on him, bro.
That was just, he proved why he's one of the top ninjas, not just for entertainment value, but because of the skill that it requires to do something like that, and not many could. And just made a run for the ages, for sure.
Yeah, on a night where a lot of the top ninjas in the world were failing at this course.
That is an excellent point, too. On top of, he basically did an incredibly tough course with one of the worst disadvantages you can put yourself at.
Yeah, this isn't like season 3, stage 1, This is season 10.
Next, we had a picture-in-picture run, and one of the only ones of the season I wasn't mad at, strangely enough. Not really. Brian Arnold being picture-in-picture, I didn't mind it as much because I was so engrossed. I didn't need commentary. I was so sucked in. It's stage 1. Everything's at stake. And I didn't think it really meant that he failed necessarily. So
that's the same. I went into it. I'm like, this could be a run where I could see him hitting the buzzer and, them just showing it.
Yeah, he was looking solid through the jumping spider. He's looking pretty winded by the wall, but he was able to beat it. Time was ticking away on him, though, and he ended up falling on the cargo net, unfortunately. He had 5 seconds left. He was just rushing. He just couldn't quite make it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we returned, we had Neil Craver and all of the voices in his head in one of the most bizarre segments I think we've ever had on ANW.
I loved it. It was so incredibly stupid that I ate it all up. Once again, if you're going to do something that's out of the box, go 100% in, man. This guy was... he went so... the editing and everything was so ridiculous. It was so incredibly hilarious. I enjoyed every second of it. Neil Craver, you win the Visually Profound Edit of the Night. What was that? He had the angel and devil on his shoulders, but it's more of a namaste, or go crazy, bro. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I couldn't see anyone else doing that except him and getting away with it, and it was entertaining as all heck. No complaints whatsoever. He ended up missing the rope twice on the propeller, and then ended up missing the transition on the double dipper. He just held on for too long, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it was the story of the night for a lot of the ninjas. I can't hate, but good video segment, so thumbs up.
Yep. Next up, Allyssa Beird, and they focused very heavily on her stage 1 run last year. Very inspiring package. I was all in. I was like, maybe I expected more than one woman to complete stage 1 this year. Allyssa is certainly at the top of the list to do that since she's done it before.
So going in, you thought she was hitting the buzzer, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
I 100% expected her to hit the buzzer. I was nervous by the fact that she isn't the final run of the night, but I thought it was because both her and Jessie Lebrecq were going to hit the buzzer.
Yeah.
And I thought that was going to be the story of the night. I 100% thought that. And I very much enjoyed the fact that, once again, that I said last year, and it was a little controversial, but I liked the fact that they showed off her talents and her accolades and not, whether she produced it or not. I wasn't a big fan of that very forced production last year. I really enjoyed the fact that they showed off how amazing of an athlete she was. And I was just all in for her. I was so ready to just lose my mind excited. Wow.
Yeah. All the focus on the Fantastic Four led me the same. I thought maybe the 2 of the 4 would finish the course. Like, that would be so cool, especially such a tough course. But she fell in Archer Alley, and I didn't even know what to say. I just totally taken by surprise.
This was the shocking, fall of the night for me. Maybe of the season. I have to look back, but this might be in the running for Stage 5 Ninja Award. And not, obviously, not one that people want to win, but this is one where, looking back, I might be one of the most shocked. Obviously, another fall later tonight is also going to surprise me, but just the way, the build-up, her accolades, and the fact that she falls right at the beginning, I felt so incredibly bad for her. And I know not only how amazingly talented she is, but also how much she wanted it, And luckily she put on a brave face. She took it very well, which is good because somebody like her, she has a lot of fans, a lot of young fans that really look up to her. And so, it's good to show vulnerability. I always think back to the Casey Catanzaro, and I know some people don't like hearing that name, but, I look back to when Casey Catanzaro cried, and, she was saying it's okay to cry and, show disappointment. And in many ways, I like the fact that, Allyssa showed vulnerability, but also strength in being like, I'm going to be back. I'm disappointed, but, this is just a learning lesson for me, and it showed a lot of poise in that.
Yeah, she is fantastic, and we know she's capable of beating that whole course, which is why it was so shocking when she fell, and it's just going to make it all the more exciting when she does next year.
All the respect in the world to her.
A couple fast forwards after her, including Michelle Warnke, who fell on Archer Alley too. That was hard. After,
I was shocked they skipped her, man. They were building her up.
I know. I guess it would be too much to show both of them. They chose to show Allyssa, which I guess makes sense. Sucks
that makes sense. I mean, to be fair, out of the 2, if they skipped Allyssa Beird, I would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, look, makes sense.
Dan, and to put them back to back, I guess, just to kind of almost soften the blow. I don't know. Rather than try to spread that pain out over the night, let's pull the Band-Aid now and learn that happened as well. Dan Polizzi was finally able to beat stage 1 in his fast forward. That was great. I was so excited for him.
Has he completed stage 1 before?
No.
I just can't think back. He's good, but this is his first one.
That's what they said. I was surprised to hear it, but that's what they said.
Dude, that's big. I'm happy for him. It sucks that he got skipped, but I'm very curious to see how somebody his size does, later on. We saw John Alexis Jr., I think, do stage 2 last year. But other than that, when it comes to people that are over 6'5" or so, there's not a whole lot of people that make it to stage 2. And I'm just very curious how well they do in things like that.
Yeah, it will be interesting. When they came back, we had James the Beast McGrath take the course. They had a whole segment on his jumping spider falls, how it happened twice before, and
I just knew, man.
Yeah.
Well, like going in, did you know, or were you thinking he might get past it?
It was like one of those, cover your eyes and just kind of peek through your fingers thing. Like, I don't like how they did that segment. That's not looking so good, but
it's not a good sign, right?
I don't
It's
know.
like, oh.
I don't know. I have faith. I still had faith. I thought he was going to do it. I thought it was a little weird that they focused on it, but yeah, it basically did like the whole Brian Wolczewski where they talked about him falling on the first obstacle and telegraphed it somewhat, but it was somehow still shocking. And the way he went down, being too far forward and kind of going head over heels, was jarring. It was like, whoa, what just happened? Like he just completely went crazy when he hit it.
Yeah, that shocked me, actually, as you said. The fact that, not necessarily that he fell, because they built it up so much, but the way he fell, right? But the fact that he just, like, full on does like a flip almost and then falls in the water. Like, what happened? It happened so fast. I'm like, what? And I'm sure he was the same, right?
Right.
It's one of those things where just they built it up so much. He was either hitting the buzzer or he was falling at that obstacle. This was one obstacle course for him, And
right.
Unfortunately, it got him again. It sucks because, that guy is so incredibly talented and trains so much. It's like, what it happened, and it's one of those things, like, he can train all the times in the world, but unless you're there at that moment doing it perfectly, you just never know. I just really feel bad for the guy and Allyssa Beird. Like, ooh, that's a heavy blow, but you just know he's going to come back stronger. Like, just talking to him and everything, he has a very good head on his shoulders and everything like that. He's been through this before.
Yeah.
3 times before, actually, I think.
Yeah, it's not his first rodeo. And we know he's one of the top ninjas. We've seen his skill over and over again. And he'll be back. He'll get his revenge. After that, we had Casey Suhaki, who had a ninja proposal / wedding. And his grandfather was there to watch him again. His funny grandpa on the sidelines cheering him on.
That was the one video of the night where I was just like, all right, keep it moving, y'all.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, I guess. I didn't have a whole lot to say. But it was good to remember. I actually had forgotten. I guess if I had seen his grandpa, it would have been enough for me to remember who he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't hate it or anything. I was just like, all right, at this time, it's like, let's keep it moving.
He was able to beat the jumping spider this time. That took him out in ANW8. Climbing the cargo net. Time was ticking away. With less than 5 seconds left, he was able to beat it. So Casey Suhaki is moving on to stage 2. Congratulations.
Hey, congrats, man. He's one of those surprising names. I shouldn't be shocked of how well he did, but for me, he was just a name of a ninja that does well. I didn't necessarily expect him to make it to stage 2, and shame on me for doubting him. Good on him.
Yeah. Then we had some fast forwards of some of the top ninjas. We had Ethan Swanson, who was able to beat stage 1. Very happy to see that, obviously.
The Swan.
Josh Levin also able to beat it, which is another huge win for us.
Woo-woo. Dude, I'm psyched. Like, Josh Levin, I just really want him to get to stage 3. I keep saying it. That is a guy that is going to just destroy stage 3. I really feel it in my bones.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see that. And then we had Sean Bryan, who was able to beat stage 1 as well. So no real surprise
nervous.
there.
Like, they were skipping both Josh Levin and Sean Bryan. Yeah. Like, both these guys, I really, like, you could see both of these guys doing very, very well in the later stages. And maybe it's a thing where it's like, we're skipping them now because you're going to see a whole lot of them, in stage 2 and 3.
That's my theory.
And I just hope that's it.
And when we came back, we had Jessie Flex Lebrec, the last of the Fantastic Four, her 3rd time in Vegas. I'm so excited to see her run, but incredibly nervous after the episode we've been having.
Yeah, I was nervous by the fact that at this point, it's like, if she's going to be the one woman that completes stage 1, she's going to be the last run. And she's not. But then I'm like, well, we still have Joe Moravsky, right? So it could still be a thing where she hits the buzzer. And I don't know, I still thought, like, this was the time. Like, she always comes so close to the sun and gets burned just a little bit, right?
Yeah, unfortunately that's what happened. She missed the wall. She had a good run going, but she was looking a little tired, a little winded. She started struggling on the twist and fly, and you could just see it was written. Like, it should just, between the time that was left and the frantic pace she was trying to make, it's like the more you try to speed up in that obstacle, the more you spin. And it was just kind of getting a little all over the place. And she fell in the transition, just wasn't quite able to do it again this year. It's like, she's so close. You know she can do it. I just got to be able to put it all together in one night.
So this was the run where I damn near almost concussed myself on the treadmill. Because on that Jeep run, when she like kind of slipped and almost fell, I literally jumped and my right foot skidded across my left foot, and luckily I caught myself by my arms, but it was at a 6 mile per hour thing, which means that belt was going fast. Let's just say I almost, it almost was a bad night at the gym for me. Let's just say that. I was very engrossed into that run, and I think I screamed in the middle of the gym, which didn't make things any better. This was a run that was really, really engrossing, and I was just there with her at every moment, and I really thought this was the time. And the frantic pace, as you said, winded her. I mean, she's an all-star track athlete. She's not somebody where stamina is an issue. I feel like that might be a rap that she might be getting, because now it's 2 years in a row. By the end, she's winded, but I don't think that's the case of necessarily like, oh, she just can't make it through. I think it's more of, she falters a little bit early on, and she feels like she needs to make up the pace, because she does, right? She's getting timed out. So I think that might be a cause of, her draining her gas tank out just a little bit. But that ending, where she's just on the swings, and she just can't make that transition for whatever reason. I mean, that was so brutal. And you're just watching at the screen, just screaming, probably in your head, or for me in my head, just like, get off that thing, just swing, go for it. It was so hard to watch, man. I really feel for her. It just sucks, the fact that it's like this episode and this year we've seen these female ninjas built up so much, and even the edit and everything, like, this is the night we're gonna see it. And she gets so close. And, oh, man, I really just hope they're building it up to where we see next episode Megan Martin, or maybe a surprise, somebody else, hit that buzzer. I really want to see it happen.
Well, this is the last woman running tonight. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is, who do we have? Megan Martin stands out, obviously.
Megan Martin, but I really think Barclay Socket has a very good chance at making it. And the reason I think that is, looking back, Barclay Socket got really, really far into stage 1. And she's looked very strong when it comes to obstacles that you just don't necessarily expect her to do well at. This course, I don't know. I just have a feeling Barclay Socket may be the one that's going to surprise a lot of people. If you look at the edit, we've seen a lot of her. Seen a lot of her this year. Just saying.
I'll end up breaking my computer. I really worry that I will jump or do something that will literally break something in that room if she manages to beat stage 1.
Dude, hey, there's still a chance we might get 2 females in that buzzer. I really want it to happen.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it turns out we're not going to be able to see one of the Jessies do it, because Jessie Graff will not be running stage 1 this year. Her conflict, which by all indications is doing stunt work for the movie Wonder Woman, which who could blame her for not wanting to pass that opportunity up. So we wish her all the best. I'm very sad to not see her competing in Vegas, but I'm sure we will see her again.
Yeah, we're going to see her again. I mean, she made it to Vegas. She showed off how talented she is in the qualifying city qualifiers and the city finals, and conflicts happen, She's in a business where the ball keeps rolling with or without her, and she has to make her money, and how can you even blame her? I mean, wow.
Yeah.
An opportunity of a lifetime, and really that's her shtick, right? And it isn't necessarily confirmed that she's working on Wonder Woman, but from everything we're hearing, I mean, it's probably Wonder Woman. So good on her. I really look forward to seeing her. Maybe, we don't know if it's stunt work. It's probably stunt work, so we might not even see her necessarily in the film, or, not notice her. But either way, I mean, good on her. Dream come true for her, and I'm very happy.
Yeah. Getting back to the course here, we had some more fast forwards of favorite ninjas. Ian Dory, who got hung up on the propeller bar and was rushing and fell in jumping spider. Like, the Wolfpack is
Brutal.
out.
Yeah, Wolfpack's had a rough year. I don't know. I feel at this point their interests might be more on the tour, and I don't blame them. I mean, they have to focus on things that, you know, it's all about not necessarily passion, but the things that's on the top of your priority list. And at this point, I feel like they've moved on from American Ninja Warrior being numero uno and, you know, making their own thing their top priority. And I 100% don't blame them for that.
Right. More focused. Maybe. We don't know. We're just, you know, speculating here, but maybe less A&W, more Ninja as a sport overall.
Yeah.
Tyler Gillette also got fast forwarded, who was able to beat stage 1. Great job by Tyler. And Adam Rail also able to make it through, which is fantastic to hear.
Oh boy, I was nervous when I saw Adam Rail was getting fast forwarded at first. I screamed. I was like, ah! Because Adam Rail is another one where I'm very hyped on that guy, you know? Very happy for him. And Tyler Gillette, low key, like, we keep seeing him, and I keep seeing him like, oh, he's going to do well, but he is surprising me of how consistently awesome he is. I'm very curious to see how far he's going to get to, like, how far he's going to go this year. Like, imagine if Tyler Gillette is the one that's the last man standing this season. Like, the tears are going to come out.
Yeah, and that's just
Talk
me.
about Cinderella story, bro.
Yeah. But from the other spectrum, the not so Cinderella story, Joe Moravsky takes the course, and in what has to be the top contender for most shocking fall of the year, he falls on Double Dipper. He just held on too long. And watching Joe in that interview afterwards was just so hard. Like, he just brims with confidence at every turn. Like, he's so full of personality. He's very charismatic, and he just can't speak. Like, he's just at a complete loss for words. Very emotional, very disappointed, obviously. I felt so bad for the guy.
Yeah, I appreciated this. It's one of those things where these are them at their rawest and showing, like, just their true feelings. Like, sometimes you'll see some ninjas just try to shrug, but you really see inside they're upset and just try to, like, get through the interview. And I don't blame them, you know, but it shows a lot of Joe really standing there and, you know, letting himself really just show how he's feeling. He's at a loss for words, but it's not necessarily the words, you know, it's not necessarily the words that are painting the picture or telling the story. It's really his face. It almost brings you to tears, and you aren't even there, but you know how much this means to him. Like, he was the last man standing, not only last year, but, you know, he's a 2-time last man standing. So he is a world-class ninja. He won the Stage 5 Ninja Award for Best Male Athlete, American Ninja Warrior in general, of the year last year. And he goes out on Stage 1 in a transition obstacle where a lot of ninjas were going out, but it's one of those things where it's like, once again, it's so split second, you know, like, anything can happen, and it just happened to be, you know, not perfect. I don't know. I have a feeling like he was probably going into this thinking, all right, this is my year. I've been campaigning for so long, you know, to get ninjas the opportunity to make some money other than the, you know, the grand prize and everything. I know he's very strong-willed, so I have a feeling he's going to pick himself up, but I felt so terrible for him.
Well, so many of the top ninjas have had moments like this, right? They've had their incidents, you know, like Drew falling in city finals and Flip touching the water, you know, in previous seasons. Jake Murray falling out. There's like so many examples of people going down early, but Joe just doesn't really do that typically. This is really the only time we've seen Joe do this. We've seen him fall, typically one of the last people to fall, though. And for him to go out early, it's just, I think in his head, he knows that's always a possibility, but he's just never had the reality of it before.
Yeah. And I just rewatched it. You know, he falls and he literally just says to himself, wow, you know, and almost like shock, you know? It's one of those things where he's probably just not believing what's going on, like when it initially happens, just like everybody else.
I think with him, and he very clearly states it, he just feels like he let people down. And none of the ninjas ever really do. Like, there's never, it doesn't matter where you fall on the course. Just taking the course and putting yourself out there and trying is a victory. And it really is. No matter where you fall on that course, if you tried your best, and, sometimes things go wrong. I really, like, in my heart, believe that. Like, it's just getting up there is so brave and so difficult that taking the course itself is the victory. And just do what you can. And you know what? The cards fall where they do.
Yeah.
But moving on to the happier times here, we've got 2 runs of the night left. We've got Daniel Gill and Mathis Owhadi. Kind of intertwined here, right? They show them training together. Their stories are very intertwined in general.
They're very similar. I mean, Daniel Gill was the Mathis of a few years ago.
Yeah. Just coming out of the blue and just dominating, and just like wondering, where did this guy come from? And Mathis earned it all tonight. So looking first at Daniel's run, just blows through the course without issue. He was just swinging for a while there on twist and fly. He had scary amounts of time left, though, so it wasn't a huge deal. He finished with the fastest time at that point. He still had 38 seconds left.
That sounds about right. That sounds like Daniel Gill.
Yeah.
It's like, if you slip up, it doesn't matter. You're still the fastest time. Like, I could say the same for Joe, but,
But here's the thing.
Hey, it's Daniel Gill, man.
I wish they would just do it in reverse order sometimes. Like, stop showing the fastest run as the last run, because there's no question. If Mathis doesn't beat his time, he isn't going last. We're going to put Mathis last if he fell, or if he...
Come on. The edit of Mathis alone was like, I already know what's going to happen, because, like, if you look at Daniel Gill's, like, quote-unquote story or vignette, it's really Mathis's vignette. It's all about Mathis.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
So they're really building him.
But here's the thing. If you reverse those, that would have been some drama, right? We would have had Mathis go and get this crazy time, looks super solid, and then Daniel running last is like, they're showing the clock, and like, can he beat Mathis's time, or is he going to have a shocking fall? We've had so many tonight. You're actually concerned for him, but you want him to see if he can get fastest time, and having him come up short on the fastest time and Mathis ending with the fastest time, it doesn't have to be the last run to make that exciting.
Dude, I get it, but when it comes to this, I fully understand what they're going for this night, and it was the final run was not about building up drama if they're going to fall or not. The final run was to build up the next superstar.
Mission accomplished, because I was familiar with Mathis way back before he was ever even close to being mentioned on the show.
One of our first guests on the podcast.
Exactly, because I had reached out to a ninja who had a YouTube channel named Andrew Lowe's, who I didn't know who that was at the time. And he wanted to bring this this young kid onto this show. And I'm like, I guess so. I mean, I don't know why we're having this young teenager on too, but okay.
Yeah, how old was he on this podcast? Like, how was he back then?
He was, I don't know, 14 or 15, I think.
I can just imagine you being like, why? Who is this kid?
Like, all right, I guess he trains with the ninjas. Like, oh, sure, whatever. And then I looked him up, and I saw he was pretty good. I saw some of his videos and stuff, and I was like, all right, so I'll have some questions for him. Who would have known? Who would have thought they'd lower the age limit for one, so we'd see him earlier, and that he would just come out and absolutely dominate the way he did?
Yeah, so this was the thing. For one, I think they're building him up to not only be the next star, because I fully believe that he's making it to stage 3, but also I feel like Mathis has a very young looking face. I mean, he's young, right? But his face looks like he's a kid on a 6'2" person's body.
Right.
He looks like a 14-year-old still. I could see him being a very, very popular person with a lot of teenage girls in particular, but teenage boys also. He could be like the person that a lot of the teenage audience, sees himself in and wanting to be. In many ways, like, he's living that life. So I feel like that's what's going on here.
Yeah, he's inspiring from that perspective. That's actually a really good point. He is there to show that next generation, hey, look, you can hang with the top ninjas. Just do what I did.
Yeah. And the way that he has a cool swagger and confidence to him while he runs, it definitely plays into that. It's not just he's young with a baby face and does well. It's that he owns up that part to it. He knows it's a television show and plays to the camera, which is like he hits all the check marks that the producers are looking for, So they're like, all right.
This is the guy.
They probably have, looking back at how well he does, they're like, all right, this is a guy we need to put the jetpacks on, kind of like, Najee Richardson and a few others, right? Like, just, they're the next stars, they're the next faces on the buses and everything of American Ninja Warrior. And good for this kid, because as we know, like, literally, probably most of his life, he's been not only a fan of American Ninja Warrior, but training for this moment in being the next big American Ninja Warrior. Big things ahead of him. I hope he just keeps a cool, head, don't let, the thing get to him, because, I'm not saying that he is, cocky or whatever. What I'm saying is, traditionally in sports, when you're very, very, very young and get fame at too young of a stage, sometimes it can get to your head. And I just hope, he stays cool about it. I don't know the guy, so I can't speak to it. I'm just saying.
I mean, here's the thing.
That's it.
If you're going to be humbled, I mean, who better to be at your side than Daniel Gill? He will make sure, I think, that doesn't happen.
Be a little bit of a older brother
type, and you know what? You know what? Try to catch me. I mean, he did beat him this time, but that doesn't mean he's going to beat him every time.
Yeah, and hey, this could be a fun dynamic too, Daniel Gill and Tom. So I really like the storyline that they have, and I 100% believe we're looking at the next big star. I don't necessarily think, he's going to be, climbing up stage 4 this season. Maybe, but, I think he's being shown in the final spot for a very good reason.
Yeah. So that is it for this episode, and quite an episode it was.
Dude, quite an episode. And this is just, we still have 2 more episodes of the finals, right? Because we have another stage 1, and then we have, like, kind of the rest, right? Like stage 2 and going on, whatever happens.
So 2 more weeks of Ninja, and then we have the stage 5 Ninja Awards after that.
Yeah, stage 5 Ninja Awards. Then maybe we'll finally get to Sasuke, 2018, and then Ultimate Beastmaster. So for those of you that are listening, we've got a whole lot coming up, a whole lot.
Yeah, and then in October we've got the new ANW Junior, or whatever they're calling it, ANW, the Ninja Kids show.
I have no idea what to expect from that.
Yeah, it's sounding really good. They've got like some of the ninjas are there helping them and stuff. Like Joyce Shabazz's daughter is running the course. Like there's a lot of tie-ins to ninjas, to the ninjas we know as well.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I can see myself loving it or absolutely despising it, but not for a fault of them. Just like as an adult male. Blah,
right,
blah, blah.
right. It's not geared for us. It's just for the kids.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're probably just do one episode, but it could be cool. So that is it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach me at rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151. Really want to hear your thoughts about this week, y'all.
All right, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic week.
Peace, love, deuces.